Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to FPL Don't Panic. This is my second attempt at doing this video, actually third, one of those days. I actually have one up on live on YouTube at the moment. I just went to play it back and don't know what's happening, but it's just freeze framing all the time. My voice keeps coming through. You can see the graphs and charts and things, but I'm sort of freeze framing all the time. So I'm going to, it's actually got quite a few views, unfortunately, so hopefully they managed to get out of it what they needed to, but I am going to redo it. This is my attempt at that, and apologies if you are retuning into this and you saw the last one. Hopefully this one will come out a little bit better. I'm not quite sure what's happened. The technology glitched. Anyways, what am I going to do today? I'm going to give you my final game week 14 team, but in a slightly different format to what I normally present it, just off of the FPL site. And this is just an opportunity to show you how I do my predictions and lay out my team and how I sort of do my planning for my game weeks, etc. I have been threatening to show this for a while. I normally, as I say, work on paper, scribble Des's dribblings all over the place, and do fixture tickers and lay out the numbers on top of each other. But you know what? This is actually quite nice to get it into a spreadsheet. It looks quite nice. This is not a perfect methodology by any manner or means. The purpose of this, and why I do it like this, as I think most of you know by now, my target is to try and get into the top 100k this year. I'm not too far away from there at the moment, and aiming at that 70-point average per game week. And this is a methodology that I developed towards trying to do that. I used to work for an analyst firm for the best part of 15 years, so they will deal with the numbers, data, and predictions. That was their job, and I worked with a lot of analysts. I was not an analyst, and I suspect a lot of them would be horrified with this methodology. But the weird thing is, it's actually kind of working in its own way. It keeps me on track with how I try to work. Gives me all the information that I personally want in one place, and my predictions are pretty bloody good, to be honest with you. So far, anyways. I sort of developed this kind of last year. Again, just sort of scribbling things on, and second half of last year went incredibly well for me. First half was terrible, but I was generally messing around, to be honest with you, just taking loads of hits for no reasons. And then I just sort of had an epiphany moment. I started sort of drawing out some graphs and things, sort of numbers and overlaying things. And this is kind of what I came up with, and I kind of worked to it. And I just had a number of key rules. I'd look at the 5 games just played. I would overlay them on each other for the different players that I'd be thinking about, and try and come up with a team that was going to get me 70 points. So as you can see here, this is my game week team for this week, which is Henderson, Gvardiol, Gabriel, Konza, Salah, Palmer, Saka, Bruno, Jackson, Cunha, and Pedro Porro, João Pedro. Last 5 games that they played, their averages down here, and their averages come up with a number of 71. So basically set a which, and the matches would have been a 71, a 47, a 71, a 91, and a 76. I think most of us would take that, over a 5-match period. But that doesn't even include captaincy, and I leave captaincy out deliberately for the whatever can go wrong will go wrong factor. And the whatever can go wrong will go wrong factor does tend to mean that it tends to be a relatively accurate sort of prediction. What I looked at is the range, so the worst that this team would have performed, 47, and the best that would have performed, 91. I look at the median, and in this case it's 69, and I choose the lowest number, and I make that my prediction. I don't add captaincy on, and as I say, it's tended to be reasonably accurate. And then there have been plenty of weeks, particularly the last 4 or 5 game weeks, where those number always the way I work it, because it's the way I work the team, trying to aim for that 70. The last few weeks, not too much has gone wrong, and I've been hitting, 85s and 87s, and I had a massive rise up the ranks from 2.5 million to 230. So I'm saying 130, 140. So so we're at 130, 140. Put it on. Yeah, so really happy with how that's gone. Yeah, about 130, 140 at the moment. So just outside the top 100k. Where it fell off the rails for me, and this is show you that data can lie if you put the wrong data in, um, and this is where it's a real shame that I didn't just sort of stick with the original methodology. But obviously Haaland and was going absolutely banging them in those first few game weeks. So when I wildcarded, I brought Haaland in, and that obviously meant skimming off other areas. And Haaland's numbers obviously skewed things because when he stopped scoring, it meant everything else went off the rails. So the numbers, yeah, looked good. You know, there were 70, 75s, all along. Fantastic, yeah. But of course, that was all coming from one area, because the team was massively weak. And so since I got rid of him, which I did take a few hits to do. Glad I did. Got Saka in nice and early, and Cunha's, and took a few hits. Things have gone on a massive upward trajectory, and my predictions have generally been very, very accurate across the last 4 or 5 weeks. So that's kind of it. So as I said, the other areas to look at here, I guess, would be, I overlay these with a fixture ticker. I haven't completed the fixture ticker, as I say. I normally work off paper. I wanted to get this out today, but the fixture ticker, green, yeah, fantastic fixture. Black, oh, terrible fixture. No chance of return. Blue, yeah, half chance. And not surprising with Henderson, there's a lot of black in there. Look like someone with a power. I try to have a team that returns players that return 3 in 5. But this allows me to maybe be patient if the rest of the team is performing. And in Palmer's case, he'd like hit 3, 2, 2. In normal circumstances, I'd have been getting rid of him at that point. I think it was working out. He only had like the one return in 5 of what it would have been prior to this week. But it allowed me to think. I'm going to be patient. I can see you've got to see a green in front of you. And I know what you're capable of, basically in history. And because the rest of the team was going so well, it allowed me to sort of, I'm going to be patient with this one. I'm not going to get rid of you yet. Unlike Mbemo, who I got rid of this week, who was just like, there's 4 or 5 blanks. And so I thought, you're gone. And I brought in Jackson and Ahmad, who is actually on the bench, but that's just 4.9 million. And he's a fantastic enabler. And if we look at his form, 11 and 8. That is under the new manager. The 6-3-6 is under Ten Hag, who wasn't giving him a fair chance. So those were the 3 games that he played under Ten Hag this year. And the new manager is already singing his praises. I actually had him in my very, very original game week 1 FPL team. And then obviously he wasn't getting his chance under Ten Hag. He's a fabulous player. I thought it was very, very telling. He obviously was a man of the match for me. He was the man of the match for me against Everton. I have had him on my watch list. I mentioned that a couple of weeks ago. And at 4.9 million, I think he's going to be an incredible buy. The manager during that game with Everton, when Ahmad had been attacking, he obviously got his 2 assists. Should have had a penalty on one of his attacks. And this was the one that made the deal for me. He went on the attack. A couple of players were in front of him. It's the first time in the match he put his foot on the ball, turned back, and passed it back. The manager literally shouted, and it was like literally, I thought, no, get in there. You attack, get that ball in the box, or get you in the box. I thought, yeah, that's what we want to see. That's what we want in an FPL asset. I think he is a bench player at the moment, but he could well make his way into the team. Reason I bought him, 4.9, cleared up some money, and as I said, brought in Jackson. Wizard's gone. Wizard doesn't score away fixtures. Bye Wizard. You've been fantastic. But I want players that can score in both matches, away and home. And also, you did have a bit of a sea of black and dark blue in front of you in your fixtures. And I think the Jackson and the Ahmad combo would score more points. Indeed, if you actually overlaid them against, Mbemo. And Wizard, there's nothing in it, even with they'd be beating them, even with Wizard's hauls, because Wizard was doing well for me, but only on the home fixtures. That's kind of that. I think that kind of makes sense. If it doesn't, pop a message. Tell me what you think. Pop a message in the message board. Let me know what you think. I mean, do you work like this? I suspect it's not too far than most of you work. When you're sort of setting out your teams, but maybe you do it on paper, maybe you do it in your head. I'm sure you look at fixture tickers, etc. I'm sure you're sort of looking at form. This to me is just a good way of getting all the key information you want in one place. And as I say, you're looking at history, the present, and the future, and that's how you That's how you analyze it, basically, and then look at the averages, and then you can adjust those averages as you go along if the team starts falling off the average you're trying to achieve. Yeah, that's kind of it. So I'm hoping this video came out. I have rattled on. That is the team. Only one decision to be made, and that is captaincy. I'll tell you where I'm going, but I'll tell you what I've also seen. I do consume a lot of content. I do actually have a look at, FPL Console, FPL Harry, Gianni Buttici. They're all great guys. They do a lot better job than me. If you the sort of content that you might want to look at, if you actually want to look at XG, XGIs, expected assists, heat maps and all that. I'm not doing this. Why I'm doing this, as I say, is to keep myself disciplined in my methodology to try and get a top 100k finish. There's no point in me doing stuff that other people are doing and doing it much better than me. But hopefully within what I'm doing, you find maybe some useful information. You might find that, when I do my watch lists, when I do my top 50 reviews and things like that, and even this, hopefully you get a little bit of useful content in it. As I say, it's really nice. I think beginning of the season, I was definitely talking to myself. We're up to about 50 subscribers. A lot of the videos are getting a couple of hundred views now, getting a few likes, getting lots of really nice conversations going in the messages, and having some really great chats with people, which I'm really, really enjoying. So hopefully get something out of it. Yeah, game week 14. I think it's going to be an interesting one. Like I said, just last point I will make. Teams are getting very, very samey now. This is almost starting to become templating. The midfield certainly is, with Salah, Palmer, Saka, to a lesser degree Bruno. Some people have Johnson, some people, etc., etc. That front three, most people have 2 out of 3 of them. And in the defence, certainly Gabriel is very, very template. So I'm going to try and break my template a little bit because it's the only way we're going to get actually any decent rises, because otherwise you're going to get 60, 70 points and you're going to get like tiny green arrows, particularly if you are in that sort of, top 1 million, because, this is what the engaged players have. So I am not going to talk too much about it now. I'll do it in my next video, but I will give one spoiler. My next transfer in, I think, is going to be Van Dijk. And that will be towards fixing where I feel is the weakness in my team, which is the defence and the goalkeeper areas. I've got a little bit of money. I can free up a little bit of money in one way, and I think I can get that to a double Arsenal and a double Liverpool defence. And I'm going to make that my differential. A lot of people have double Arsenal. A lot of people have double Liverpool. I'm not seeing too many out there that are actually talking about double Arsenal and double Liverpool as a strategy. And there are some bargains in those defences now. We've got the injury to White at the moment. I think that means we can pretty much say Timber is set in stone. I think Timber is a good buy. Although I may try and solve my goalkeeper problem, go for Raya instead. But I think the Liverpool defender I absolutely want to bring in is Van Dijk. I thought about Trent. I don't think I can get the money to go. Well, I can get the money to go there, but it would mean I'm just doing Trent. I think the value of Raya, Gabriel, and Van Dijk. And I think it's Gomez. I think it's Gomez is looking like he's going to be there for a while because Konate's out. And I think I'm going to make that my 16 to 20 strategy. As I think a lot of you know, I break my season up into as much as possible into sort of five match blocks, and then set out a new strategy with each 5 matches. I think five games. So I think it's looking so far, so we're not at the end yet, but it's looking like 11 to 15 is going to be pretty successful. I'm certainly so far way above the 70-point average for the 11 to 15. But I suspect the next game week or two, even if I hit 70, the rises are not going to be particularly big. But that is what I'm now going to then look to see what I can do for that 16 to 20. And I think I'm pretty set on that. I'm really happy with the rest of the team. I think the next bit of strategy, 16 to 20, will be around fixing my defence, but making that a key part of the strategy going forward. Because I could go with one of the things I spoke about, I suppose, with the 4.5 rotatings. But freaking hell, that's going to be bloody scary every week. Just seeing, these cheap defenders, and they will come in occasionally. I think Arsenal and Liverpool are looking magnificent. They're looking like they are going to keep clean sheets. And I'm pretty confident somewhere in that. Here's my prediction. I am going to do this as a strategy. somewhere in that 16 to 20, there will be at least one game week where both teams keep a clean sheet, and I've literally got a full house of clean sheets, and there will be some returns in there. Van Dijk looked dangerous. He looked really dangerous against City. He actually looked more dangerous than Trent. He got his head onto 3 balls. He should have had at least 1 goal. So I think some Van Dijk goals are coming. If you've got the money, that will be a tip for you. Get them into your teams. Liverpool are looking ominous, and they're looking like they're going to start getting a run of clean sheets going again. But I fancy Van Dijk's going to get a return or 2. On that note, folks, deadline's going to be 7:20 p.m. here in New Zealand. It's not much more than 12 hours away, deadline. So make sure you get your teams locked in. Listen, have a great game week. I'll see you on the other side. In the meantime, have fun, play your own game, and don't panic. Take care. Bye-bye.